The colony on Duran 7 was quiet that morning. Most people were inside their small metal homes, fixing broken tools or charging old solar panels. The sky was dusty and pale. This planet had no birds, no blue skies, only wind, stone, and the sound of machines trying to survive. Tom was in the scrapyard, holding a wrench in his hand. He worked as a mechanic, fixing drones and engines. His hands were always dirty, but he didn't mind. It was peaceful work. He liked the sound of metal clicking, the hum of old systems waking up again. As he wiped sweat from his forehead, he heard soft footsteps behind him. He turned around and saw a girl standing there. Quietly, she was wearing a simple blue dress that moved gently in the wind. Her name was Lena, and she often came to the scrapyard to look for small parts. "Your drone again?" Tom asked with a small smile. She nodded and held out the small flying machine in her hands. One of its wings was bent, and the light in its eye was blinking red dot. Tom took it from her carefully. "Same problem as last time. I told you this model can't handle the wind here." Lena didn't speak much. She only watched him with soft eyes. Her hair was tied back with a thin strip of cloth, and she looked a little tired, like she hadn't slept well. He sat on a crate and started fixing the drone. "You always wear that dress," he said while working. "It suits you." For a second, she didn't move. Then she looked down at the dress, touched the fabric with her fingers, and gave a quiet smile. "You think so?" she asked, her voice soft. Tom nodded. "Yeah, it looks like hope, like something from Earth. Not like all this dust and metal." She didn't answer. Instead, she stepped closer to him. Before Tom could say another word, she grabbed his hand. His body tensed. Her touch was warm, but something else happened, too. A strange static passed through his skin, like a soft electric shock, but not painful. His eyes widened. "What was that?" he asked. Lena looked around quickly, then leaned closer. "Come with me," she said. Tom was confused. "Where?" "I want to show you something," she replied. "But you have to promise you won't tell anyone." He stared at her. "Why me? You noticed the dress." She said, "No one ever talks about it. They only look at machines. You saw me." She turned and walked toward the edge of the scrapyard. Tom hesitated, then stood up and followed her. They moved through broken towers and old ships that had fallen long ago. No one came this way anymore. It was dead ground. But Lena walked like she knew every step. Her dress moved like water, blue against the gray dust. They reached a half-buried building near the old spaceport. A metal door was half open, covered in sand. "I found this place last year," Lena whispered. "No one else knows." She pulled the door with both hands, and it opened with a rusty screech. Inside was darkness, but she picked up a small light from the wall. The beam showed a narrow hallway filled with cables and old panels. Tom followed her in. The air inside was heavy. The walls had markings, old Earth language, worn and faded. They walked down to levels until they reached a round room. In the center was a console with a cracked screen and blinking green lights. Tom looked around. "What is this place?" "An old memory core chamber," she said, "from before the evacuation." He stepped toward the console, but before he could touch it, Lena stepped forward and placed her hand on the scanner. The screen lit up. Tom stared in shock. "That's human tech. Only human DNA can unlock it." She looked at him calmly. "I know, but you said you were born here." She didn't answer. Instead, the screen showed a spinning symbol, then opened a storage compartment. Inside was a small glowing device the size of a coin. Lena picked it up and held it out to Tom. "This holds part of my memory," she said. "I want you to see it." "Why?" "Because you said the dress suits me," she said. "That means you still believe in something good. I need someone like that." Tom slowly took the device. It was warm in his hand. "What am I supposed to do with this?" "Connect it to your personal hub at night," she said. "Don't tell anyone. Not yet. There are things you need to understand first." He looked at her, eyes full of questions. "Are you really human?" Lena looked down. "I don't know what I am anymore, but I want to find out, and I need help." She turned to leave. Tom followed her back through the dark halls and out into the wind. Before she walked away, she looked back at him. "Remember what you said," she whispered, "about the dress," and then she disappeared into the shadows of the colony. Tom stood there for a long time, holding the glowing memory core in his hand, heart beating fast. He didn't know what he had just stepped into, but something told him this was only the beginning. That night, Tom couldn't sleep. The memory core Lena gave him lay on his table, glowing faintly in the dark. Outside, the wind howled against the metal walls of his small home. He sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the device he had fixed. Hundreds of machines in his life, but this was different. This was personal. Lena had trusted him with something. He didn't know why, but he felt like he had to see it. Slowly, he reached for his portable hub and connected the memory core. The screen blinked once, then showed a loading symbol. After a few seconds, the screen turned white, and a video began to play. It showed a room clean, bright, and filled with soft light. A man in a white coat stood beside a small girl, maybe 10 years old. The girl wore the same blue dress Lena had on now. The man smiled and said, "She's perfect. Not just wires and code. She laughs, she learns, she feels." The video jumped to another scene. The same girl, now a little older, was running through green fields. There were birds in the sky. A real blue sky. Tom leaned forward. This was Earth. The old Earth. The next clip was darker. Soldiers marched through a broken city. Fires burned in the distance. The man from before looked tired. He held the girl's hand. "You must remember who you are," he said. "When we are gone, you must find someone who sees you, not what you're made of." Then everything faded. The screen went black. Tom sat still, heart pounding. He now understood Lena was not fully human, but she had lived like one, loved like one. The blue dress was from her past, a memory of someone who once believed in her. He didn't sleep at all. When morning came, he left his home and headed straight to the scrapyard. Lena was already there, waiting near the old ship ruins. She looked at him carefully, like she wasn't sure what he would say. Tom walked up to her and placed the memory core back in her hand. "I saw everything," he said, "and I don't care what you are. You're real to me." Lena gave a small smile. It was the kind of smile that said more than words. "I want to help," he added. "Tell me what to do next." She nodded and turned toward the ruins. "We have to go back. There's more hidden under the colony. A map, a path to something important." They moved fast through the ruins. Lena seemed to remember every broken wall, every step. Soon they were deep underground again. They reached another chamber. Larger than the last. In the center was a tall structure covered in dust and old wires. It looked like a giant data tower. "This is the core memory station," Lena said. "It connects to other Earth systems, but we need a code to wake it up." Tom looked around. "Where do we get the code?" Lena pulled something from the lining of her dress, a flat crystal piece. "It was hidden here," she said. "I kept it with me always. I didn't know why until now." She placed the crystal into the console. Lights flickered. The tower began to hum. A voice filled the room. Identity recognized. "Welcome, Lena. Please confirm purpose." Lena stood still. Then she said, "I want to find the Ark." Tom blinked. "The Ark?" She looked at him. "A hidden ship, built before Earth fell. It holds human DNA, seeds, history, everything. It was made to rebuild life on a new world." The voice responded. "Accessing Ark map." One moment, the tower glowed. Brighter, a hologram appeared in the air. It showed a desert, a mountain range, and a blinking dot deep underground. Tom pointed. "That's far from here." "Yes," Lena said, "but we must go. The Ark is sleeping. If we can wake it, we can give the colony a real chance. Not just survival, but life." Tom nodded slowly. He was ready to go. But before they could say more, a soft beep came from the console. A red light flashed. "Warning," the voice said. "Unauthorized signal detected." Scanning room, Lena stepped back. "Someone found us." Tom ran to the console. "Shut it down." She touched the crystal again, and the tower went dark. They hurried out of the ruins and climbed back to the surface. The wind was stronger now, and dust stung their faces. Near the scrapyard, they saw the patrol drones scanning the area. They followed the energy signal. Tom whispered, "We need to be careful now," Lena said. "If they find out about the Ark, the colony leaders will stop us." Tom agreed. The colony leaders cared about order. If they learned about a powerful ship that could change everything, they would lock it away. Back at Tom's workshop, they met Bren, an old friend of Tom's. He used to work in systems control. Before he got pushed out by the leaders, Bren raised an eyebrow when he saw Lena. "You brought a girl into this mess?" "She's not just a girl," Tom said. "She's our key to something big." Tom explained everything Lena's past, the memory core, the Ark. Bren listened quietly. When Tom finished, he sat down and scratched his beard. "I always thought there were secrets under this colony," Bren said. "I'll help you, but we'll need supplies, maps, and a plan. That mountain is far, and the drones won't stop." Lena pulled out a small data pad. "The map is inside this, but I need help decoding part of it." Bren took the pad and started working on it. "Give me a few hours. If this is real, we'll need to leave by nightfall." As the sun set, Tom stood outside, watching the sky turn dark. Lena came and stood beside him. "You still think the dress suits me?" she asked. Tom smiled. "Yes. It reminds me that there's still beauty left, even in all this dust." She didn't say anything. She just looked out into the dark, holding the memory core close to her chest. Inside, Bren shouted, "Got it? The path is clear. We leave tonight." Tom turned to Lena. "Are you ready?" She nodded. "I've waited a long time for this." Together, they stepped into the shadows of the night, chasing a forgotten future buried deep in a mountain far away. The crawl rumbled across the rocky ground as stars blinked above the desert sky. Tom sat near the front window, watching the dark shapes of broken towers and dry land pass by. Lena sat beside him, holding the memory core close to her chest. Behind them, Bren was checking fuel levels and reading the decoded map. They had left the colony in the middle of the night, using the old tunnels that led away from the central hub. By morning, they were already deep in the wasteland. The air was thin, the ground was dry, and there were no roads, only shadows and dust. Tom glanced at Lena. "We should stop and rest soon." She nodded. Her face looked calm, but her eyes were distant. She hadn't said much since they left. Tom wanted to ask questions, many questions, but he waited until they set up camp. Behind a tall rock wall, Bren started the fire unit and sat down to eat. Lena sat alone on a stone, staring at the sky. Tom walked over and sat beside her. "Are you cold?" he asked. She shook her head. There was a long silence. Then Tom said, "You never told me who the man in the video was." "The one in the lab coat." Lena looked down at her hands. "His name was Dr. Harlan. He was the one who built me." Tom frowned. "Built you?" She turned to him slowly. "I'm not just a girl from the colony, Tom. I was made in a lab. Half of me is human, real blood, real thoughts, but the other half is advanced machine. Harlan said I was Earth's last hope, a being who could live through time and carry memories forward." Tom didn't speak. Lena continued. "After Earth began to fall, he put me in deep storage. I slept for many years. When I woke up, the world was gone, and I was alone." Tom finally spoke. "You said your memories are real? The dress, the fields, the birds, that was all true?" She nodded. "Yes, he raised me like a daughter. He didn't want me to feel like a machine. He gave me this dress on my 10th birthday. Told me it would remind me I was more than wires." Tom looked at her, then at the blue fabric. It had tiny threads of light running through it, barely visible. "That's why you kept wearing it." He said, "Yes, it holds part of the memory core. It's not just clothing. It's my story." Tom felt a strange pain in his chest. She was not what she seemed, but that didn't matter. She had feelings. She remembered laughter, sadness, and kindness. She was alive. "You're not a machine to me," Tom said softly. "You're Lena. That's all that matters." Lena smiled a little, then reached out and touched his hand. thank you. They sat together quietly, the fire flickering behind them. Bren soon joined them, holding the data pad. I finished reading the next part of the map. He said, the Ark is inside a sealed chamber below the mountain ridge. We can get there in 2 days if we drive fast. Any signs of drones or colony patrols? Tom asked. Not yet, Bren said. But we have to be careful. If the colony leaders catch us, they'll lock us up and hide everything we've found. Tom nodded. We'll move at sunrise. The next morning, they packed up and continued their journey. The land grew rougher. Sharp rocks and steep hills slowed them down. They passed old bones of machines left from wars long ago, Lena said. Nothing, but her eyes kept scanning the horizon dot as they climbed a high ridge. Bren stopped the crawler and pointed toward the north. There, he said. That's the mountain. Tom stepped out and looked. A large dark mountain stood in the distance, its peak hidden in the clouds. It looked cold, silent, and ancient. That's where the Ark is sleeping, Lena whispered. They drove all day toward it. But as they neared the base, the crawler's system gave a warning. Signal detected, Bren said. Eyes wide, drone scan coming from the west. Tom jumped into the seat and checked the radar. A red dot was moving fast. They found us. Hide. The crawler, Lena said quickly. We go on foot from here. They drove into a cave near the mountain base and shut off all power. Then they took their gear and began to climb the rocky slope. The path was steep and narrow. Cold wind blew. Around them, Tom helped Lena up the rocks, holding her hand tightly. Finally, after hours of climbing, they reached a narrow ledge. A metal panel was half buried in the mountain wall. This is it, Lena said. She pulled out the memory core and placed it into the panel slot. The rock around them shook slightly. A soft light appeared, forming a circle in the wall. Slowly, the metal door opened, revealing a tunnel lit with blue lights. They stepped inside. The air was warm and clean. The walls were smooth, shining faintly. Tom looked around. It's still working after all these years? The Ark was made to. Wait, Lena said. It never stopped watching. As they walked deeper, they entered a round chamber with a tall pillar in the center. Screens lit up, and a calm voice echoed through the room. Welcome, core holder. Please state your request. Lena stepped forward. This is Lena. We seek access to the Ark's functions. Earth is gone. The colonies are falling. We need a new beginning. The voice answered. Request accepted. Identity confirmed. Emotion scan required. Tom looked confused. Emotion scan. Lena turned to him. The final key isn't in the core. It's in the heart. The Ark needs to know if I'm truly trusted. Only a human can show that. Tom stepped forward. What do I do? Just speak honestly, Lena said. Tom looked at her, the girl in the simple blue dress, the one who had shown him trust, who had walked with him across the desert, who had given him the truth. He placed his hand on the panel and said, I told her always wear this dress. It suits her, and I meant it, because it reminds me of who she is, hope, memory, and a reason to believe. The room went silent. Then the lights glowed bright green, skin complete. The voice said, Trust confirmed, Ark systems unlocking. The ground trembled slightly. The chamber opened on all sides, revealing large halls filled with sleeping machines, plant pods, and learning centers. Bren whistled. This is more than we thought. Tom turned to Lena. She looked at the Ark with quiet eyes. Then at Tom. You believed in me, she whispered. He nodded. And I always will. They had reached the heart of the Ark, but they all knew this was only the beginning of something much bigger. Inside the mountain, the Ark hummed with life. For years, it had waited in silence. Now, machines moved softly, lights blinked across the walls, and a calm voice guided Tom, Lena, and Bren through the chambers. This is the core of the Ark, said the voice. It holds preserved knowledge, Earth species, and tools for restarting life. They passed through long halls filled with seed vaults, medical units, and machines that could build entire towns. Everything was clean, untouched by time. Lena walked slowly, eyes wide. Dr. Harlan helped build this, she whispered. He told me, one day, someone would come here and wake it. Tom placed his hand on a panel near a glass wall. Inside, green plants were already growing in sealed boxes. "This place can change everything," he said. Bren looked serious. "It can save the colony, but only if we can bring this news back." Lena turned around. "We must be careful. The colony leaders don't want change. They want control." Tom nodded. "They tried to hide this. But why? Why keep the Ark a secret?" Bren sat down on a nearby bench. "Let me tell you something I've never shared before." Tom and Lena listened. 10 years ago, Bren began. "I worked in system security. I was trusted. One day, I found a locked file marked high clearance only. I opened it." He paused. "It was a message from one of the last Earth ships. It told us about the Ark hidden on this planet. It also warned that only someone with real human trust could unlock it." Tom frowned. "So they knew." "Yes," Bren said. "The colony leaders knew the Ark was here. They didn't tell anyone. Not the public, not the engineers, not even the science team. They feared that if people had hope, they would stop listening to orders. Hope, they believed, was dangerous." Lena looked angry for the first time. "They left this place to rot. And people suffered." Bren nodded. "They build their rule on fear, not truth. They used broken machines and harsh rules to keep control." Tom stood. "Then we must show everyone the truth. We must bring back proof." Lena touched the core panel. "We can download videos, maps, and full system records. It will take time." They worked quickly. Bren collected files on a tablet. Lena helped the Ark's system open its main memory stream. Tom searched for anything that could show the people what this place was. As they gathered data, an alarm suddenly flashed red. "Warning," said the calm voice. "External scan detected. A signal has locked on this location." Bren's face turned pale. "It's them." Tom checked the display. "A transport drone. And it's armed." Lena's hands moved fast across the panel. "They followed us here. Maybe since the crawler. I should have cleaned the signal trail." Bren grabbed the tablet. "We have to leave now." Tom nodded. "We take what we have and head back. We'll show the people what their leaders tried to hide." They exited the Ark chamber, sealed the gate, and climbed down the mountain path quickly. The cold wind blew harder now. In the distance, a dark shape flew across the sky. It was the drone. At the bottom, the crawler was still hidden. They jumped in and powered it up. Bren drove fast over the rough ground, avoiding open fields and sticking to shadowed paths. "They'll try to stop us before we reach the colony," Bren said. Tom turned to Lena. "Can we send a message ahead?" She thought for a moment. "Only one way, through the old miners' channel. It's broken, but still linked to the central display in the colony square." "Let's do it," Tom said. "If people see the Ark with their own eyes, they won't be silent anymore." Lena opened a side panel and plugged the memory core into the crawler system. The screen lit up. "We only have one shot," she said. "I'll show them the halls, the green plants, the machines built for life," Tom added, "and the message from Dr. Harlan, the truth about the Ark's purpose." Lena pressed send. The signal flew through old wires under the ground, reaching the colony's square. There, early workers and children were beginning their day. Suddenly, the main screen on the tower lit up. A voice echoed. "This is Lena. I was built long ago, not to rule, not to fight, but to remember and guide. The Ark is real. It is alive, and it is meant for all of you." The screen showed the bright halls, the gardens, the machines waking after years of silence. Then it showed Tom's voice. "This was hidden from you, but now it belongs to all of us." The people stared, silent at first. Then voices began to rise, not in fear but in hope. Back in the crawler, the team watched the signal go out. "It's working," Bren said. "They're seeing everything." But the moment of peace didn't last long. A blast hit the side of the crawler. The vehicle shook and sparks flew. Tom shouted, "We're hit." Bren swerved, dodging another shot. "It's the colony guards. They're not going to let us return without a fight." Lena held onto the core tightly. "They're afraid. But we're not alone anymore." The crawler reached a hill. From the top, they saw the colony in the distant sand, dozens of people gathering in the square. We need to reach them before the guards do, Tom said. The crawler rushed forward, dust flying behind them, but two armored vehicles were coming, fast from the side. Bren looked ahead. We won't outrun them. We need to split. Tom looked shocked. What? I'll lead them away, Bren said. You and Lena take the backup drone. It's hidden behind the crawler wall. Tom didn't want to leave him. Bren smiled. Go. They've seen the truth. Now you give them hope. Tom grabbed the tablet and the core. He and Lena ran to the side panel and opened the hidden hatch. A small drone bike stood inside. It was fast but could only carry to Dot as Bren turned the crawler toward the attackers. Tom and Lena shot off the other way. The drone bike moved like wind, racing across the land. Shots echoed behind them. The crawler burst into flames. Tom didn't look back. His heart was heavy, but his hands held the truth, the proof of what was real. Lena leaned close. We're almost there. They sped into the colony, reaching the square just as the guards arrived. But this time, the people stood in front of them, not behind. A worker shouted, "We saw the Ark." A teacher cried, "Why did you hide it?" The guards stopped. The leaders arrived. But the people didn't move. They had seen enough. Tom stepped forward. The future is not yours to control anymore. Lena raised the memory core. This belongs to everyone. And in that moment, the colony changed. The truth had been buried for years, but now it had risen and no one could stop it. The wind over the wasteland was sharp that morning. The sky was gray, and the air felt cold and dry. But inside the colony, something had changed. People no longer looked down. They looked ahead. The video from the Ark had reached every corner of the colony. Farmers, builders, children, everyone had seen the green hulls, the sleeping machines, and Lena standing in the center with Tom beside her. It was not a dream. It was real. And now, people wanted more. They wanted answers. Tom stood near the colony gate with Lena and a small group of volunteers. Some were young, some old. All carried packs, water, tools, and hope. They were going to the Ark, not in secret this time, but as a team. The council is still trying to stop us, said an old woman named Mara. They say the Ark is dangerous, that we are not ready. Tom looked at Lena. What do you think? Lena held the memory core in her hand. The Ark is ready. It's waiting for us. We just have to reach it before they shut it down. The group left quietly. Drones still watched from the towers, but no one moved to block them. The people of the colony had already made their choice. They walked through broken land, past old machines and silent buildings. After today's, the land became harder. Large rocks, deep cracks in the earth, and dark clouds covered the path. Bren's sacrifice still echoed in Tom's heart. He had given them time. Now, they had to finish the journey for him. On the third day, they reached a long canyon. It stretched for miles, and deep fog rolled along its bottom. We have to go down, Tom said, checking the map. There's no way around. A young man named Leo tied a rope to a metal post and looked over the edge. It's steep, but we can climb. One by one, the group went down into the fog. The air was cold, and the rocks were sharp, but no one turned back. At the bottom, strange sounds echoed in the mist. Lena held up a scanner. Something's here. Tom looked around. Drones? No, she said. These are older patrol bots from the first colony waves, but they're broken. The group moved carefully. Shapes moved in the fog metal. Legs, cracked shells, blinking red eyes. But none attacked. They only watched. They're stuck in a loop, Lena said. Their orders were never updated. They don't know peace came. As they passed through, one bot suddenly lit up. A voice came from its chest. Do you carry the signal of Earth? Lena stepped forward. I do. The bot's eye turned green, then passed in peace. The rest of the bots turned away, and the path cleared. Tom looked at her. You spoke to them like they were people. They were built to protect, Lena said. All they wanted was someone to guide them again. The group climbed out of the canyon and saw the mountain ahead. The Ark waited beneath it. But at the base of the mountain, they found something they didn't expect. A second group was already there. Guards, engineers, and colony leaders sent by the council. They stood near the entrance, and their vehicles blocked the path. Tom stepped forward. "This place belongs to all of us." One of the councilmen, a tall figure named Rail, walked toward them. "You made a mistake by sharing that video. The Ark is not a toy. It is dangerous." Lena held out the memory core. "This is Earth's last gift. You cannot hide it anymore." Rail pointed at her. "You are not even human. You are a machine built to control." Tom stepped in front of her. "She is more human than anyone here. She feels, she remembers, she protects." "What have you done except lie?" The people behind Tom raised their voices. "Let us in. We want the future. You don't decide for us anymore." Rail looked at his guards. They hesitated. One by one, they lowered their weapons. Lena walked to the panel and placed the core inside. The door opened. The crowd followed her into the Ark. This time, there was no fear, only light, warmth, and quiet sounds of life waking up. Inside the main hall, the voice of the Ark spoke again. "New visitors detected. Welcome, citizens of Duran 7. Please state your request." Tom looked around. "We want to restart this planet. Not just survive, but live." The voice answered. "Then choose your leaders. Choose your future." "The Ark is ready." Lena guided the group through the halls. People saw the seed vaults, the clean air tanks, and the greenhouses. A small girl picked up a seed from a glowing pod and held it in her hand. "This can grow?" Lena smiled. "Yes, with water, sun, and care, it will grow." That night, they stayed inside the Ark. Lights glowed softly. The air smelled fresh. Tom and Lena sat near the center pillar, where the Ark's core blinked gently. "You were right about the dress," Tom said with a smile. "It suits you." Lena looked down at it. It was still clean, still blue, even after all the dust and wind. "This dress holds more than memory," she said. "It holds hope." Tom nodded. "And you gave that hope to all of us." She touched his hand. "Not alone. You walked with me. You saw me. And that changed everything." Outside the Ark, the people were making plans, not for war, not for power, but for gardens, schools, clean air, and safe homes. The desert would take time to heal, but now they had the tools and the will. As the stars shine above the mountain, the Ark whispered one final message: life begins again. The morning sun cast soft light over the mountain where the Ark lay. Inside, the halls were alive with gentle humming sounds. Machines and systems that had been silent for decades began to stir. Lights flashed, screens lit up, and the air filled with the faint scent of fresh water and growing plants. Tom stood at the center of the main chamber beside Lena. Around them, a group of colonists moved quietly, watching the machines work. The Ark was waking. "This is what we came for," Lena said softly. "A chance to heal." The Ark's voice filled the room. Systems online, preparing environment restoration, initiating terraforming protocols. Tom glanced at the controls. The screen showed green fields, blue skies, and oceans, a vision of a new world forming. Suddenly, an alert flashed red on one of the panels. "Warning," the Ark said. "Unauthorized approach detected. Colony security forces incoming." Tom's heart raced. "They're here." Outside, through the windows, the dust kicked up. Dark vehicles approached fast, carrying armed guards loyal to the old leaders. Lena clenched her fists. "They want to stop us." Tom took a deep breath. "We cannot let them." The colonists gathered around, ready to defend the Ark. Children, farmers, and engineers all stood together, no longer afraid. They believed in the future Lena and Tom showed them. The guards arrived at the mountain's base and formed a blockade. A leader stepped forward, the same man named Rail who had challenged them before. "This ends now," Rail said. "The Ark is a weapon. It must be shut down." Tom stepped in front of Lena. "The Ark is life. It is hope. You fear change," Rail sneered. "Change means chaos. I will not let you destroy order." Lena raised her hand. "Order without hope." His prison Ryle soldiers prepared to attack, but before they could move, a loud sound echoed from the mountain, a deep, rising hum. The Ark was activating a defense system. A glowing barrier of light appeared around the entrance, blocking all vehicles and weapons. The guards stopped, stunned. Tom smiled. This place protects itself. Lena touched the control panel. The Ark is ready to defend the future it creates. Rail shouted orders. But his troops could do nothing. The barrier was too strong. Inside, the Ark continued to come alive. Machines began to distribute water. Air filters started cleaning the old dust. And sea pods opened to reveal small green plants. The colonists cheered. They saw a new world growing before their eyes. But the challenge was not over. Suddenly, the Ark's voice changed tone. System anomaly detected. Internal security breach. Tom looked around, worried. Someone inside is trying to shut down the Ark, Lena said. They turned to see a figure moving through the halls, a man in a dark uniform, holding a device to disable the systems. Tom and Lena ran after him, calling out. The man sneered. You don't understand. The Ark is too dangerous. It must be stopped. Lena faced him. You fight against your own future. Tom stepped forward. It's not too late to choose hope. But the man pressed a button. The lights flickered. Machines slowed. Lena acted fast. She reached inside her dress and pulled out a small tool, a key to the Ark's control. She connected it to a panel. I can override. The man rushed forward to stop her, but Tom blocked him. With a click, Lena reactivated the systems. The machines woke again, faster than before. The man fell back, defeated. The Ark's voice returned to calm. Security restored. Terraforming protocols resumed. Lena turned to Tom. We must protect this place. Together, outside, the guards retreated. Rail glared but saw the people standing strong and hope shining in their eyes. The future was changing. As the day passed, the Ark sent out signals to nearby planets. It shared data, seeds, and hope. Tom looked at Lena, smiling. You wore the dress, he said gently, and it still suits you. She smiled back. Because you told me to. They stood together, holding hands, the beginning of a new journey for all. The sun rose slowly over the colony, painting the sky with soft colors. For the first time in many years, the air smelled fresh, the dust was fading, and green shoots pushed through the cracked earth. People gathered near the mountain, watching the plants grow, the machines hum, and the future bloom. Tom stood beside Lena at the base of the Ark. The blue dress she wore caught the morning light, shining softly. It was clean and bright, like a symbol of hope. Behind them, the colony had changed. Old walls were torn down, new homes were built, and laughter filled the streets. Children played in small gardens, their smiles wide and free. Lena looked at Tom. This is what I dreamed of. He smiled. And you made it real. The Ark's voice echoed through the valley. Terraforming complete. Life support systems stable. Colony environment restored. A cheer rose from the crowd. The future was no longer a distant dream, it was here. Rail, the former leader who once tried to stop them, stood at the edge of the crowd. He watched quietly, no longer angry, but thoughtful. Tom approached him. You don't have to be afraid of change. Rail looked up. I see now. This is not the end, but a new beginning. Lena stepped forward. We all make mistakes, but together we can build better. The colony leaders met with the people, and soon a council was formed that included farmers, engineers, and even Lena herself. Tom looked around at the new community. We've learned something important. What's that? Lena asked. That hope is stronger than fear. That people can change when they see the truth. Lena smiled and took his hand. And the dress? Tom laughed softly. It suits you because it carries our past and our future. Together, they walked through the fields, where fresh water flowed and seeds grew tall. The Ark's machines worked quietly, helping the land heal. One evening, Tom sat outside his home and looked up at the stars. Lena joined him, holding the memory core. Do you miss Earth? He asked. She nodded. Sometimes. But now, this place feels like home. Tom squeezed her hand. We'll make it better than Earth ever was. She smiled. Because we believe. Because we never gave up. The colony slept peacefully that night, wrapped in soft light and quiet hope. And as the stars shone bright above the mountain, The Ark whispered one final truth: life begins again.